Welcome, gamers. This week's episode of Last Call Gaming. We're on episode number 228. Today is April 1st. My name is Craig Prowse, and joining me on this April Fools of Days, Mandrew Montemayor.
April Fools. I honestly kind of hate April Fools because I feel like there's lots of places, and I guess take this as a call out, like IGN that just posts cringe ass shit, like, oh, and I'm like, just shut up. Like, why are you cluttering up my feed?
Dude, it's always funny because it's one of the times where I'm like, man, I hate jumping online because you always see all these dumb articles. Have you seen anything stand out at all today? I saw one of them that was like Magic the Gathering Arena is a game that we like to play, but it's only on like your phone and tablet. And I kept seeing things that it's like on console now, and I'm like, fuck, I forgot today's April 1st.
I actually sent you guys one earlier, and then I unsent it once I realized what it was. But I only
in the group chat.
Yeah, I only believed it because Sony, I know, had filed a patent for it, where it would be like AI kind of stuff to like help you when you're playing, to like look up guides, or if you get stuck on a spot or something, you could even it's described in the patent as like you could even use it to like fight the boss or clear the section or whatever for you. So IGN made a thing with like a controller, like they're talking to the controller almost like Siri with the touch controls, and that was pretty like believable. And I'm like, but the only reason I even remotely fell for it is because I had already known about the patent, and I didn't really get online too much yesterday. So I'm like, oh, I wonder if I missed that like yesterday. And then it occurred to me, I'm like, oh, never mind, today's April Fool's, so that's fucking.
Yeah, there was a bunch of like articles like Dragon Ball Z stuff I saw with Super and all these things. I'm like, okay, I gotta not even look at anything today and just check everything out tomorrow because half this shit's gonna be nonsensical. So,
well, it'll fit then because Super is nonsensical and sucks.
Oh my! So guys, if you're joining us today in our fresh start of a new month, if you're on the YouTube, guys, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell. If you guys are interested in following us on our social media, our link tree link is in the description. You can follow us on Facebook and on Instagram, which I need to jump on more because there's a couple games I've beaten that I haven't done post yet as of late, and we want to do more of that. And if you guys are interested in our audio-only version of the podcast, you can check us off on your podcast platform of choice. We were a little behind on some episodes. We're neither here nor there. Andrew recently just put out his thoughts on Resident Evil 9 Requiem. Fantastic game. We were kind of just talking off camera. Great game, so make sure you check that out and leave your guys' thoughts down below there.
That game got me sick.
It got him infected. So, guys, before we get into our main topic, we like to do Off the Top, where we take a second and kind of go over some articles and some news that maybe you haven't heard of or maybe you might catch your eye. So, I wanted to go over a couple of games that are doing well that maybe you've been on the fence on and you weren't sure if you should get it, and maybe this will kind of either open your eye to either sway you towards or against it. But the first one I wanted to point out was Crimson Desert. Now, if you aren't familiar with that, Crimson Desert is a 2026 action-adventure game developed and published by Pearl Abyss. Originally planned as a prequel to Black Desert Online, the game evolved into a standalone title during development, and it was released for all systems on March 19th of 2026. Now, generally speaking, even if it's a game that's kind of broken, like Cyberpunk when it first came out, Andrew and I like to jump on and be hands-on day one just to see what all the fuss was about. This, however, and as cool as the game looked, I think I even may have put it on my top 5 anticipated games, or at least an honorable mention. This one, I think we both kind of looked at each other and were like, I think I'll wait to kind of see what's going on with this game. Obviously, what a lot of kind of the complaints are is that it's a steep learning curve to kind of wrap your head around some of the controls. A lot of people are saying it takes 10, 15, 20 hours to kind of get into it, to kind of wrap your head around it, which is not something I find interesting at all. It's clear that what they can see is that this was originally supposed to be an MMO type of game that they've kind of transformed into a single player game. Obviously, a lot of the fun stuff is supposed to be in the back half, and this thing is supposed to be like 80 to 100 hours long. So I was more than willing to kind of step back on it. I'll read a couple of its highlights in a second, but are you happy that we kind of didn't jump day one on this game? Is it something you're still interested in?
I don't know if I'll ever get to it, especially with a kid right now. I just don't have like 100 hours, let alone 100 hours for... I could deal with maybe like the combat, like learning curve or whatever, but I've seen it like unanimously from like a lot of people, not ever that I try to take that into consideration with something, but because it was already so long, I'm like, okay, do I really want to commit? Is that a lot of it is, just like boring MMO type stuff. There is some interesting stuff. I'm like, okay, well, I don't want to play 70 hours of like mid content. Like, if you're going to give me, I was just telling Craig, like, I would rather settle for something that's 50, 20. Like, I'm just so tired of all these people, like, let's just make the biggest possible thing that we could possibly do, but then everything in between is just like, not as like exciting. I'm like, okay, I'd rather have something like dialed in. I don't need to travel from here to as far as the eye can see. Like for me, that's just not as like interesting. And for some people, this might be it. Like if you're one of those people that like you do 1 game a year or 3 games a year and you love that content, this could definitely be for you. Because we've said it before on the show, like that is not for us, especially just as who we are as like the games we play, but because we try to provide content to you, I can't like just dedicate 100 and something hours to this game and then not play like Resident Evil or some of this other stuff that's coming out. Like I just can't.
Yeah, and it's what's interesting is that like it's a lot of people that I'm seeing criticize it. At the end of the day, they're still saying that they really enjoy it. And one of the biggest things I keep saying is that this game's constantly patching itself, so you can tell that this game probably needed like maybe a few more months, 6 more months to cook before it was finally ready. I think they just did 3 patches in 1 day, but however, it is doing good. 4 million units in approximately 2 weeks, so it did do 2 million units in the first 24 hours. So the game is hitting some really interesting milestones. It says, while selling strongly on console, the Steam version saw a peak concurrent player count of 276,000 players as of late March 2026, with user reviews improving from mixed to very positive after patches. So I would say if you are hesitant on it, I'd say maybe still wait, maybe give it another month and let them patch a bunch of things. I know they kind of fixed the jumping. They're working on fixing the running. There was a big problem with inventory management because there's no loot box to hold all your loot.
Yeah, whatever you have, it's just you carry it for the whole game.
Yeah, so I think you started up, let's say, 12 boxes. I think they added that now to you have over 30. So I would say it's doing well, and the people that like it, but I would probably wait for at least another month or 2 before it kind of gets all figured out. So if we do end up playing it down the line, if we do, I would say it'd be wave towards on a sale, or maybe wait till it's on the Game Pass or something like that. Anything else on Crimson Desert?
Nah.
Alrighty, guys. So the next game I wanted to point out that's doing fantastic was Pokopia. So if you guys aren't familiar with that, Pokemon Pokopia is a social simulation game co-developed by Game Freak and Koei Tecmo's Omega Force and published by Nintendo and the Pokemon Company for the Nintendo Switch 2. It is a spin-off of the series. Now, this is actually doing quite well. It sold over 2.2 million copies worldwide within its first 4 days of release, including 1 million units in Japan alone. This was released on March 5th of 2026, and it's saying it's Nintendo Switch 2's one of the best-selling games on the system. Now, what I was just reading is that, and I believe this was yesterday, is that Pokemon Pokopia sends monthly Switch 2 sales flying by 154% in the UK as the cozy Animal Crossing-like hands Nintendo a needed system seller. Yeah, they're saying this is pushing Switch 2 consoles, which is fantastic, and it is one of the games that people are saying when they're trying to find physical versions of it, they're actually not finding them in stores. Like, it's actually selling out. Sam and I bought it. I haven't got a chance to play it yet, but I've watched her play it. It looks pretty good. You play as a Ditto who's, it's got a cool Pokemon story where all the humans have gone missing and you're slowly kind of building up the world again to kind of make Pokemon happy and content. From what I've been hearing and reading on podcasts is that there's not as much building as I think. Like, I'm always not intimidated, but I don't care much for building things up.
Yeah.
I guess you don't really have... You can if you want to. You can dedicate all kinds of time into it. Sam just showed me a picture that somebody built this big-ass Charizard, and I was like, that's cool. But I guess to progress the storyline, because it does have one, is that you don't have to do that as much. So if that is something that was kind of throwing you off, just keep in mind that you don't need to do all that as much as you would have to do in an Animal Crossing-style game. The fact that it's moving Switch 2 sales is fantastic because I think Switch 2's been lacking lately in terms of system sellers. So it's nice to know that a spin-off Pokemon game is what's actually moving it instead of games like ZA and whatever the last Pokemon one was. It's like it's this new Animal Crossing style game. So are you interested in it at all?
I don't know that I'll play it, but you can always kind of tell, I think, a little bit when a game's doing better because it's like when I go on Instagram, tons of Pokemon Pokopia, just like funny videos with tons of likes, tons of hearts.
Everyone's digging it, yeah.
Like that. So, like, and it's always like that with, like, Resident Evil 9. Same thing. When Resident Evil 9 came out, just tons of funny stuff and tons of content, tons of memes, tons of whatever. And it's like, sometimes that takes that game to another level, and I'm sure, like, pulls people in, like, okay, I've seen that, and that's really cool. I'm content watching from the sidelines, but I do love seeing like a lot of the content and the weird stuff that people make. I seen someone make a thing, and it was like an underground jail cavern that was like super thick and really long to get to, and you had to take like a railway down there. And they're like, I'm locking this freak up, and they have the jail cell built just for Mr. Mime that's walking around down there.
Nice. So if it's a game you guys have been looking forward to, check it out. It's doing quite well. It is Switch 2 exclusive, so you do need a Switch 2 to get it. And if you're trying to get a physical copy, make sure you look hard, because apparently they're not finding them in stores. Digital copy, that's what we ended up getting, is the way to get it. Anything else on Pokopia?
No, I'm glad it's doing well.
Alrighty, guys, and the final off the top is that Mario Galaxy 2, Super Mario Galaxy movie, which is the sequel to the Super Mario movie, isn't doing, I guess, so hot. It's got a 44% on Rotten Tomatoes, 37% on Metacritic, and if you're not familiar with it, Super Mario Galaxy movie is a 2026 animated adventure comedy film based on the 2007 video game Super Mario Galaxy and its 2010 sequel, as well as Nintendo's broader Mario franchise. Produced by Illumination and Nintendo, distributed by Universal Pictures, a sequel to the Super Mario Bros. Movie. So just in context before I read this, Andrew and I haven't seen the movie yet. I plan on going to see it.
Just came out today, yeah.
Yeah, so we can't give our thoughts on this, but this is kind of what people are saying about it. Illumination, the folks who brought you those sweet little yellow hench dudes, is back with their second crack at one of the most iconic video game franchises of all time, the Super Mario Galaxy movie. Their first Super Mario Bros. Movie was a real lesson in simple and efficient adaptation, but that's a job that gets tougher when you expand from world to galaxy. The great and sometimes terrible thing about adapting something truly beloved to the big screen is it has the potential to be...
Sorry.
You're all good, buddy.
Water got
to be just as good a movie as it was in a different form. The trick in reskinning these iconic books or comics or video games or whatever they were before they became movies is figuring out what made them popular in the first place and focusing on that. There's no small amount of pressure in that decision. It's an important one, the most important one. In fact, if you get it wrong, nothing else in the movie is going to work. To that end, the Super Mario Galaxy movie focused squarely on all that stuff. This movie is packed wall to wall with Easter eggs and references in what seems like every character Nintendo as a company has ever dreamed up and rendered as, at minimum, 8-bit sprites. In fact, there are entire locations in this movie, crowded and bustling spots we didn't get to see in the first film, that are used as devices for dropping countless characters on screen as blink and you'll miss the cameos. Now, a few of the other reviews I saw were all kind of saying the same thing, and what was kind of getting me upset is none of them are talking about the story. It's all just going, oh, it's cameos, it's a lot of stuff from Nintendo, they're kind of wearing it on their sleeve, and I'm like, okay, well, that doesn't matter. Like, a lot of people that didn't like the first movie kind of said the same thing. They're like, oh, the storyline isn't that good, but like, Andrew and I talked about it before. It's like, that's not the point. The movie, it's Save the Princess. I want to see all the Easter eggs. I want to see what Nintendo does. So, for me, I would say, I mean, unless the storyline isn't really that good, because again, it's not getting great reviews, but nothing I'm really reading is talking about why the movie's bad. They're just saying that it's overflooded with Nintendo things. So I'm hoping that once we get a chance to see it, maybe we can do a spoiler cast and we can kind of dive more into it. But nothing I'm reading is deterring me from it, and I'm looking forward to it. And I want to see more. I want to see Nintendo cameos.
It's fun.
Does it throw you off at all?
I was like, no. What's funny is that just you reading that segment, I already knew it was from IGN's because I read it and I'm like,
oh, did I not say that?
I was like, I kind of don't care for this guy's review for that exact reason, or like, oh, we saw these places in the first movie. I'm like, you really thought the sequel was going to focus on Donkey Kong and like Kong Island and all that stuff? Like, if it was just a drop in the bucket, the first one, like, he'll probably get his own movie or his own something. Why would they expand on like that area? I'm sure those guys are kind of in there. But it was clear from the beginning that this was going up into the stars. Well, and I think the biggest, maybe valid kind of criticism, but I haven't played the game, so I really couldn't kind of say to it, is like, okay, well, now that we're in Galaxy, Rosaline is not in it and up front maybe as much as she should be. And I'm like, okay, that's a valid thing, but saying like, oh, we didn't get a big focus on Donkey Kong or some of these other people, like, why would that matter when that's, we're going to space now, so that's not even his territory.
Well, I was also reading one from, I chose the IGN one, but I was also reading one from Variety, and it was saying that, like, that they're saying Yoshi looked like a rubber ducky. They were trying to criticize the animation, and I'm like, There's no way.
The animation looks good.
Yeah, look at the trailers. The animation looks fantastic. So when I was reading the Variety one, they were making fun of the way a lot of the characters were looking compared to the first one. I'm like, okay, well, again, you're not talking about the story. You're talking about Yoshi looks bad, and that the Lumas, I think that follow around Rosalina were kind of one note, calling her, hey, mama. I'm like, okay, but again, this has nothing to do with the story. So
we'll wait and see. I mean, I'm going to go see it. I want to go see it this weekend.
Yeah, hopefully we get a chance to go see it this weekend and we can kind of report back. But if you guys do get a chance to go see it, leave your comments down below of what you think about it. But unfortunately, as good as the $1 billion Super Mario Brothers movie did the first time around, this one doesn't seem to be doing as well. And with reviews like this, it probably doesn't seem like it's going to hit the milestone that the first one did.
I was like, I don't know if it'll hit milestone, and maybe review-wise it is slightly like less, but I think people are still going to go out there and see it because of how good the first one was. So I think this will do a killer at the box office. I did want to note too, like specifically for IGN one, like the first review they gave it, I think like it was like a 7 or 8 or something like that, and you and me are like, how no? That first movie was like I personally hold the first movie as like a 10.
Yeah, it's up there.
I had fun front to back in that first movie. I love that movie.
Front to back. So that's everything I have on Mario. Anything else on that?
No.
Okay. So guys, we're going to move into our main story, and that is that the Xbox partner preview just recently happened. That was on March 26th, and it showed off a lot of things. It showed off 19 upcoming games, including 7 never-before-seen titles, 14 of which will be playable day one with Game Pass Ultimate. Before we get into it, Andrew and I normally we're gonna pick a few. We're not gonna go through the whole thing, but anything. I mean, did you like this at all? Do you think it was kind of mid? I mean, obviously there was. I don't think there was anything. I have my notes written down. I think it was pretty solid, but there was nothing crazy that blew me away. But there was definitely some things to take away.
I think that it was kind of mid for me. I think that it was good.
For me.
I think it was good overall if you're looking at it for what it had to offer, and like for people that have different tastes, everything, it had a little bit of everything. Personally, for me, it was a little bit mid. There was one big announcement. It wasn't even the game announcement. It was the fact that it's on Game Pass. I'm like, sold, 10 out of 10 show. Great job. Thanks, guys. So I was super excited about that. But there was a couple games where I'm like, okay, like that looks pretty cool. But again, some of those were like a few far in between, or like some of, like, I don't understand. I guess you would have to have maybe stuff in there for kids, but like you just hit a lull when you hit games like Bluey or like some of these other games. Like at least Bluey's like a playable game. I forget what some of the other ones are, but I'm like, this just kind of like looks terrible, and I don't get it. And I think the worst part of the show for me, and something that stood out, and I don't remember if it was during every game, but I heard it during a couple. It seemed like afterwards, usually when they do like the you know, like the little tailored card of the game, like it'll be, you know, Bluey coming to Xbox on this date or whatever, yada yada yada. Some of the voices sounded like very AI.
Oh yeah,
and
yeah.
that definitely threw me off.
Yeah,
because I was like, what the hell was that? Because it's like Bluey coming to, and I'm like, that sounds terrible. Like you guys really couldn't pay some, and hopefully, I don't know.
Could
if
get
that's,
Matt Booty to do it?
I don't know if that's maybe an Xbox thing as a part of that show. If that's something like, okay, this is just what, you know, the team behind Bluey, they created that tail end, and so this is something they put in, which I don't know. It was like you couldn't pay somebody, you couldn't call me and pay me $50, be like, Bluey coming soon to Xbox now.
Yeah, at the end it would kind of recap what it was and when it was coming with a QR code that you could scan to get more information about the game. But yeah, it was a generic male, like AI sounding voice.
It sounded AI.
Yeah, and I was just like, ugh. So with that being said, guys, we picked 3 games each, so 6 in total that kind of caught our eye the most. Andrew will go first, and we'll just kind of go back and forth. And then anything we leave off, you know, leave down in the comments below what you guys think. But Andrew, what was the first game that stood out?
The first one that stood out to me is, well, I'm doing this in order of, like, least hype to most hype. So okay. It might not be first in the order, but I think maybe it is in the way they showed up. Is Musa Dirty Fate. That's developed by Iggy, which I don't really know too much about them. But this is a 17th century Korea. It takes place 17th century Korea. It's like an action style game, third person action, and it looked almost like it gives you kind of that soul. You say soul styles with everything, almost like Wu Chang. So now we're kind of moving away from like European or like what From Software does. We have people doing different things. Wu Chang was Chinese, Sekiro, or not Sekiro, Liza P was like Paris and kind of France. Now this is, it's Korean, and you can see that in there. So it's really cool, and I really like that a lot, that we're kind of moving around the globe for how we're doing these sort of games. So I don't mind it, but it didn't seem more Souls-like, as I would say. I would compare it almost to like Sekiro, but maybe almost like Ghost of like Tsushima or like Yote, because that gameplay didn't. It was hard to kind of tell because you do see big bosses and then fighting, but you couldn't tell if it's just like, okay, like Sekiro, like it's they have their life bar and it's kind of hard, or if it's like that more action like Tsushima or games like that are where like, you're kind of just going around and they're like a little bit fodder and you're kind of just having fun, or even more like Assassin's Creed or something like that. So I kind of do want to see more. It does say it's a 2027 game, but I actually really liked it. I thought that one looked really cool. And I do like seeing these games kind of now. We're seeing them just move away from destinations that like we see all the time.
Nice. Definitely, I definitely was one that caught my eye. So
You?
my game, and I don't think I had these in any particular order. Maybe just alphabetical. My one was Alien Deathstorm, which is a new from Rebellion, who did Atomfall and Sniper Elite. Atomfall I know was kind of split amongst some fans, but overall did well. And Sniper Elite's a series I know you've enjoyed.
Sniper Elite's cool.
Yeah, looking forward to kind of this. So it's Alien Deathstorm, an atmospheric first-person adventure where second-to-second survival hinges on responding to a monstrous, constantly shifting threat on a storm-blasted, off-world colony. In the world premiere, we got a first glimpse of a settlement ravaged by violent weather conditions and terrifying alien creatures, where figuring out what happened quickly evolves into a fight for survival. It is going to be on Xbox Play Anywhere, as well as the Xbox Game Pass. So again, what I really like that the showcase did is a lot of these games were on Game Pass. So even if you were on the fence about them, you're going to get a chance to try them out. It did give me like Dead Space vibes, that, you know, it's constantly, you got to, not only are you protecting yourself from elements and making sure that you're surviving, but the aliens did look like it was going to be something that we're going to be chasing you down and things like that. And I love a good single player campaign. Now, I threw me off at first because I thought it was Alien, like part of the Alien franchise, but this is something that's, I believe, its own standalone IP.
Terrible name.
You hate it?
I hate it.
I kept thinking it's an Alien Deathstorm. I don't know why Deathstorm wasn't popping in my head. I think if it was just called Deathstorm, I think that'd be a better name, no?
Yeah, I think that's far better.
Yeah, Alien Deathstorm kind of threw me off. But as far as that
drop
going around,
yeah, it's cleaner.
It's cleaner. But it did look fun to me though. So that's first game that caught my eye.
My next one, it's coming from Weepy Studio again. There's a couple of studios in here. I'm like, I don't know that, or I've ever heard of like some of these people, but it is nice to see them putting out some bangers, and that's Eternal Life of Gordon.
Really cool.
Yeah, it's like it's like 2D. It's kind of hard to describe what it almost is, because it's very action platforming, kind of almost like you have like a cane that you could bounce around on. Almost like
Scrooge McDuck.
Yeah, I was gonna say like the DuckTales game, but almost like, I don't want to say like compare things to like Hollow Knight or stuff like that, because you are fighting bosses, you're fighting enemies, but it's a beautiful looking game. Like, I really like this one a lot. I think what really sold it for me too, because I'm like, okay, the art style is already really cool, this looks really cool, but then you see some of the bosses that you're fighting, and like there's one of them where it's like, I don't know what the upper body is, but it's like 3 like women's heads. The one that like really got me though is like, it's just basically like you're fighting this crab that looks pretty cool, but when they beat the crab like holds its head out and puts like it's like claw around its neck and then hammers it with the other one and like cuts its own head off. I'm like, dude, that was so cool.
Yeah, like they admit defeat and they kill themselves.
And so I really like this one a lot. I thought it was a beautiful game. There is a demo out for it, but I decided not to play it because I think I'd rather just go in blind, especially since I believe this one is also a Game Pass game as well too. It didn't have more dates. They said they were going to announce that later, but it is a 2026 game. So check that one out. Beautiful art style though. Like it looks so good.
Yeah, I liked it. The fact that that you could gain abilities and like move the cane around, so you can start using different
like
things.
Upgrade it.
Yeah, so I thought that game looked fantastic. My next game was Artificial Detective. It's actually what closed the show with the world premiere of Artificial Detective, a stylish post-apocalyptic adventure. In a trailer, we meet a wisecracking robot detective tasked with his greatest case yet, finding out why humanity has disappeared. One twist in the mystery, a single human child has been left behind, and the pair must work together to solve the case and save humanity in an explosive third-person action adventure we can't wait to see more of. Now, this game isn't going to be on Game Pass, but The art style I really enjoyed. I like the way even the combat looked kind of cool. It looks like there's going to be some interesting modes to attack. There's one point where he's like gearing up to like run into like this big boss, and he gets like that jackhammer, and he just runs at him and throws it in there. There's parts where he's like kicking fuel tanks and blowing them up. I like a good detective adventure, and if you're going to throw in some nice action combat, I'm looking forward to that as well. I do want to find out why, this one girl is left. I don't know if I'm going to like their dynamic. I think that might have been the biggest thing. I mean, I get that that's what it kind of like it hinges on, but I don't know if I really loved what they had going on. I'm sure it gets better in a second trailer. But as far as the overall story and the action I got to see, it caught my eye.
When it was just showing the story before the gameplay, it really reminded me, and I almost thought it was going to kind of be a game from like David Cage, like Detroit Become Human.
That's what I was thinking too, yeah.
That's what it really felt like until it kind of started out. I'm like, okay, there's something different. But at first I'm like, oh, no way. They're going to have like some random...
I'm hoping they maybe kind of combines a little bit of that. Do some of the detective mode where it is walking around and doing things, and then adding in some combat of getting from A to B. So... that was my number 2. What's your last one?
Yeah, my last one and my game that I've been hyping up for a while, and that is Stranger Than Heaven. That is the next game from RGG Studios, the people who do Yakuza. And as everybody knows on here, all I do is gush about Yakuza. I love the series. This one has looked really good before. The only thing we had seen in like previous trailers was just that it obviously takes place in the past. We couldn't tell like any time frame or any sort of date with that, but it did have like that kind of brutal Yakuza combat style in there. Maybe even a little more so, because maybe they're not just afraid to like kill people with this one, whereas in like Yakuza, Kiryu never like kills anyone. So it might be like a little more violent. And I'm like, okay, cool. Like I love that. Like this nitty, it's even more like grittier than kind of what Yakuza already is, which is like super dope. I'm all for that. But what they revealed for this is that it's going to be in 5 different cities in 5 different eras, which sounded even cooler. So you're seeing like, and it shows like different timelines. The periods that we have are 1915, 1929, 1943, 1951, and 1965. And so that's like a pretty good spread, a really good time gap. I like too that there's like literally like I'm really interested to see what like that 1943 area is going to be like, because that's during the tail end of like World War II. So that'll be really cool. And especially after announcing that Gang of Dragons, Koshi's game, has been in like trouble and maybe might not come to fruition, I'm super, super excited for this. I'm super excited for them to do something. And if this is a Yakuza prequel, I'm all for that. That's still really cool. But I like that now they have Yakuza. Even though we haven't got another Judgment is different enough to where, like, even though it takes place in the same world, you're a detective, you do things differently, and now we have, like, and maybe, like, another third pillar for, like, okay, so that way you're just not getting Yakuza and then maybe a spin-off of Yakuza spin-off of Yakuza, like Pirate or something like that every year. Now we could be like, okay, even though they're similar, for those of you that like the gameplay, they're different enough. And I'm all for that. That sounds super dope. And crazy enough, this one is coming to Game Pass. Woo! And I feel like, and as much shit as I talk about it, especially right now because of the pricing and stuff, Xbox Game Pass really put me onto Yakuza. I didn't play any of them because obviously they weren't on Xbox for the longest time. When they came to Xbox, they launched on Game Pass, and I played all of them, and it is one of my favorite franchises. I put Yakuza 0 in my top 5 favorite games of all time, and so they are... I mean, Yakuza, I think, is bigger now than ever, and I think Microsoft is a big player in why that is.
100%.
Is because they've pushed it to the forefront all the time. At their pressers, at any sort of event, anytime they have Yakuza stuff, they make it front and center, and I love that they're doing that.
And they're just pumping out games after games, man.
They do, and they're good. I think, and the worst thing anyone can ever say is like, okay, that one was just good. It wasn't great. It wasn't amazing. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, if that's the worst thing you can say about a game is that it's good, then
hey, sign me up. Nice. My third one is going to be Dispatch, which is the episodic hero hit. I'm sorry, before I jump in, I don't think I put dates on my last 2 games. So Alien Deathstorm and Artificial Detective both come out in 2027. Oh. This game will be coming out in 2026.
I'm sorry, thanks for reminding me. There was no date for that, but they did say there is a event just centered around that, Stranger Than Heaven, and that's on May 5th, so here soon.
There we go, perfect. So So Dispatch, you play Robert Robertson III, formerly known as the superhero Mecha Man, who is forced into a desk job as a dispatcher for a team of reformed villains turned superheroes after his iconic mech suit is destroyed. In this narrative-driven game with a comedic twist, you'll manage a team of misfit heroes assembled to tackle emergencies across the city, all while navigating interpersonal relationships and the turbulence of office politics. So the full collection, because when it first came out on PlayStation, they were episodic and you were playing them, I think it was week by week, I don't think it was month by month. So the full collection will be coming out in summer. This one won't be on the Game Pass, unfortunately, but I cannot gush about Dispatch enough. It
looks good.
It was in my top 5 games of 2025 from last year. I don't think everyone will put it in their top 5, but for me, for loving the way I liked old school Telltale games is, because that's kind of how this plays, the way it looks all comic booky and the story that it tells, for me it just hit everything that I wanted to play.
You're going to play it again?
I'm going to play it again. What sucks is, because what happens is when you have these Telltale kind of scenarios where you do kind of do buttons and you move the story along, but it really comes down to when you're dispatching, obviously, and you're sending your team out to solve these different little problems. Like, for example, if a mayor needs a bodyguard, you've got guys that have intelligence, or if they have speed, or if they have strength, or if they have defense, you got to match the right person. And then even if you match the right person, there's a little mini game of saying what your probability and percentage of actually succeeding is. So I was addicted to the game. What I'm kind of already regretting in my head is, because I played it on PlayStation, so I didn't really go after all the trophies, is that now that there's going to be achievements on it, there is multiple endings to do, and not only different endings, there's different choices between episodes to get. So it's like I already got the good ending. Like, I actually, without looking anything up, I got the ending that I actually was aiming for. So it's like, do I redo the one I did before, or do I now play it again with all the opposite choices and see how that story goes? So I cannot recommend this enough.
Send that bat out on every mission.
The bat was awesome, man. He was my favorite guy. But I mean, a spoiler, there is a chance where you can pick different team members and let go of certain people. So it's like, there was a chance where instead of the bat, you can swap them out. It could be somebody else. It's like, I don't know how. I'm already thinking in my head, how am I gonna play it and who am I gonna pick? But I forgot to look up what the price is going to be. Hopefully, it's not a full price game. I can't imagine that it will be, but
$90.
No way. Is it something you want to get? Is it something that we don't get together and play it?
I figured that you would pick this one, so I didn't put it on the list. That and
because I love it, man. It was so good.
Because you had already gushed about it for us, so I'm like, oh, I'll just do something different. But no, I'm excited for that one. I think it looks really cool.
I wish they did put it on the Game Pass, though. That's the only kind of thing, is that this game's already been out. But again, though, if they're kind of picking up and getting some extra dollars, good for them. I'd imagine. I don't think they said it was going to Switch at all. Yeah, just Xbox and on PC. So I'm glad that they finally got it. And it's a great game. If you haven't got a chance to play it before, definitely check it out now. So those are the 6 games collectively that Andrew and I pulled together to see that kind of caught our eye the most. Leave down in the comments below anything that we may have missed or what caught your eye. With that down and out of the way, we're going to move into what are you up to? When Andrew and I take a second and talk about anything we've been playing and anything we've been watching, and then we can wrap this mother up. So, Andrew, it's been a couple weeks. What have you been up to? Or is there something else you wanted to add?
Oh, no. I was just keeping track of where I am. So, it's kind of funny that it worked out the way that we ended, or the way that I ended my list, because you're going to hear me gush about more Yakuza, and I didn't mean for it to be that way, but that is the way that it is. And so, as far as watching anything, it popped up on IGN for me one day, and it said, like, Yakuza, and I was like, what the hell is that? And then it was also on, because I follow Sega 2 on YouTube. And so it's a miniseries by Nikon Toitsu. And this is a Japanese studio that makes crime dramas. And it's pretty much like the first Yakuza game. Like, it's very faithful. If you look in the comments, people are just loving it because it's a way more faithful adaptation of what we got with Amazon. There's 3 episodes. They're all out now. They're like over an hour each, I want to say.
Yeah, I didn't know that when I was downloading it. I downloaded the whole thing. I was like, oh, shit.
And, It's a little cheese, and obviously the
that's a charm.
Yeah, it's a little cheese, and you can tell like the money's not quite there, and they do some stuff to make it like very video gamey. Like at one point, like he goes like that to change fighting styles, and you see like little flames coming out of him, like Kiryu does when he's playing or when you're playing, or even just for some of the budgeting stuff. It makes me laugh, but again, it's full apart. Like it is good. You played Yakuza 1. Uh-huh. The first time you go into Kamurocho, like the very you walk under that sign, and it's like it does that big draw, and it shows you the street with all the stores and everything like that. They use that exact scene, but they have the guy walking there instead of Kiryu. It's like the video game characters and stuff. Like
That's cool.
So like actual like the NPCs and stuff that are wandering there. So I'm like, okay, like you know what? I could let it go because it's good, like, and it fits.
So it's better than the Netflix show.
Yeah, or the Amazon one.
The Amazon show.
Yeah. Okay. So check it out if you're into Yakuza. And then as far as playing anything, I did 100% and do everything for Resident Evil 9. Love that game of the year so far, but again, we're only in April now. I did start Yakuza 3, Kiwami 3. I was kind of waiting for a little bit to get it. I felt like I didn't really have anything else to play up until Pragmata comes out. Or maybe I just didn't feel like playing anything else for something like this. It's just a beat 'em up. I'm really enjoying it so far. I know the original one doesn't have a good reputation because they call it Blockuza. And I remember playing through them. Like, the enemies just block. And you don't really have, like, a grab or, like, a good ability to get past it. That's all fixed. It feels so good to play because it's in the new Dragon engine. They have changed the way some people, like, look. Like, completely redesigned some of them. It doesn't really bug me. I really haven't come across anything. I know there are some people that are like, oh, they retcon this or they retcon that, and I got spoiled by like big one at the end that happens. I'm like, okay, well, it's just dumb. I don't really know why they did that, but I am just having a really good time playing it, and it's just so convenient and it just feels good the way that it's running. So pick that up on like a sale or something if it's maybe something you were sleeping on. Don't sleep on it because it is good.
Nice. Excellent. As far as what I've been watching, I'm not going to dive into these. These are just kind of current shout-outs so that you guys, if you didn't know they were out, is Daredevil Born Again Season 2 recently dropped. There's 3 episodes out on Disney+. It's amazing so far. And if you haven't noticed that Invincible Season, I think it's Season 5, I think it has 4 episodes out right now, and it's on, is it Season 4?
Yeah. Whatever
the new season is, it's out now on Amazon. So if you've been waiting to check it out, check it, dude. It's just as brutal as any of the other ones before. It did have a weird episode with Satan and going to hell, which has been its lowest rated episode so far. But I thought it was fine. But the show that
Satan's great. That episode, by the way.
Yeah, it was
Bruce Campbell.
Oh, are you all caught up? Did you watch him?
No, it popped up on my YouTube feed, and I'm like, oh, I'll check this out. And he's just, I'm feeling good, baby. And I'm like, is that Bruce Campbell?
So the show that I actually just finished was Ted Season 2, which is on Amazon, and it is hilarious. Like, if you are a fan of the Ted movies, then you definitely should watch Ted Season 1. And if you like Ted Season 1, watch Ted Season 2. The kid that plays John is perfect. The kid, the dad, and maybe I knew this in Ted Season 1 and I forgot. The dad is the voice that does Steve from American Dad. So you can totally hear it. There was not one episode where I was not laughing out loud. Are you a fan of Ted at all?
I used to be, but I'm kind of just like over it. I don't know.
Dude, I was dying. So if you guys didn't know it was out, definitely check it out. It does kind of end because the way the last episode goes, it could just end right there and go into the movies. But one of the biggest reasons I was reading that Seth MacFarlane said that they're stopping is because doing a CGI for Ted is so expensive. It's like $8 to $10 million, and they did, I think, 8 episodes or something like that.
I'm sure, yeah.
My biggest thing is like, come on, it's Ted. You can't find a way to make this thing cheaper, but the quality is there. It is on par with the movie. As far as what I've been playing, I just beat this game called Mini Shoot Adventures. It's on the Game Pass, so check it out. It's got 10 out of 10 on Steam. It's a 9 out of 10 on
Game of the Year
on IGN. I can see it being up there for, I don't know if we'd call it an indie game, but it's the developer is Soul Game Studio. It came out on April 2nd. It's got beautiful graphics. It reminds me of like Legend of Zelda, like Link to the Past, but you're this ship. There's no real storyline. You're kind of collecting your friends. It's a Metroidvania. You're getting new powers. You're going back. You're solving puzzles. There's races to do. I think you would actually really enjoy it. It is at a point, and it's like an RPG. So you're getting your points, and you can level up like your speed. You can level up your critical percent damage, and at any time you can respec yourself for free. So if you need to go to a race and you need to put up all your speed, you can take down all your damage and stuff like that and boost it up. Or if you're going to do a boss fight, get rid of your speed and turn up all your damage. It is. I mean, there's parts. I'm going to put up a thing on Instagram showing some of the boss fights. It's wild. I mean, you do got to be kind of on your game. But there is a cheese, though. You can turn on invulnerability. So if it is something that you kind of just want to see the game, definitely check that out. I had a blast with it. as far as the other game I'm playing is I just started playing Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness, which is a role-playing game in the Pokemon series developed by Genius Sonority and published by the Pokemon Company. It originally came out August 4th of 2005. It's one of the newest GameCube games that they put on the Switch 2 package. It is so good. Like it just blows my mind that there weren't more games like this. You start off with an Eevee as your character, and I'm not that far into it. I just got to the point where they're developing this machine, and I guess shadow Pokemon are like, I don't want to call them like evil Pokemon, but the whole point is if you find them, your ability to so you get Pokeballs, but you can only capture shadow Pokemon because you're trying to save them from bad trainers, and then they can be added to your team. I'm just at the point, very beginning, where the professor kind of just got stolen, and now my hunt is to go out and find him. I did get into a couple battles, and I've turned my Eevee into an Umbreon. So it's fantastic. I think it's probably about a 20-hour game or so. So hopefully by next week I can have that done. But I'm having an absolute blast with that so far. So, and there's a couple more games. We can talk about that next week. So guys, that is the end of this episode. Leave down below what you've been playing, what you've been watching, and let us know. But that brings it in, guys, to episode 228. Join us next time, guys, on 229. And until next time, guys, my name is Craig Perales. That is Mandrew Montemayor. Cheers.
We'll see you out there.